Hallo alle zusammen, willkommen unserem Kouryer podcast. And yes, that was another introduction, which I totally did not butcher, but let's move on. Welcome everyone to episode 143rd of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Mr. Christian Grajewski. Again, I butchered another thing. Let's move on. He's a vehicle and industrial designer with 8 years of experience working for famous companies such as Volkswagen, Audi, Lamborghini, Porsche, Bentley, Bugatti, and so on, from Hannover, Germany. Now, with that quick introduction out of the way, I just need to quickly mention something as well. In the description below, I put his Instagram, art session, Twitter, and his personal website and portfolio as well, so you can go check his works in high resolution and detail if you want. Because when it comes to industrial designs and things like this, it's not just some concept arts that you can just see as a thumbnail. Even you can enjoy the intricacies of it when you zoom in high definition, and that's something I would suggest everyone to go check it out. And yeah, well, let's move into the first question, which I ask everyone, and I always get some very interesting answers. Give us a little introduction on how you got into the worlds of visual arts and design, and just decided that you want to become creative in your life.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good one, and yeah, this might take a bit because this wasn't my usual journey. And yeah, again, also thank you very much, Ramtin, for the invitation to your podcast. Really appreciate that. And yeah, so how did I start? I mean, I think what I had in common was that I was drawing a lot as a child. But this was nothing creative, basically. I was just always copying some stuff or so. And I had this passion. But and yeah, I never made anything out of this. Basically, then I left school after 10th grade, with end of 16. And I hated school, I have to say. And my teachers actually said, yeah, with your drawing, the only thing you can do is actually be a technical drawer. So just drawing machines or so, whatever. So I did something completely different. Then I started an apprenticeship as a mechanic metal worker. So, and this is in Germany, we have this system. You can 3.5 years, you do school and on the job at the same time in a company. So I was basically building from beginning of 17, 3.5 years aluminium boats. So aluminium welding and also stainless steel welding, drilling, and all this what makes you really dirty. And yeah, so it had nothing to do with creativity at all. So, and after I finished that, you had to decide in Germany where you could still choose between the military service or your mandatory or civil service, and I chose the second one. And I actually applied for a position in an elderly home, so where I was basically kind of an entertainer, the housekeeper. So I was basically playing games with them, just do you say go for a walk, or just go with them outside, because the relatives basically rarely visited the people, and I was also just responsible for just mowing the grass and everything. So it was a really great time. And at that time, I actually thought about my life and thought, okay, what is there maybe something? This was beginning of 2000. What I could do with my drawing abilities, because my best friend Toby always said, yeah, try to do something with that. Or do you really want to stay your whole life in the metal work as a metal worker? And I looked at myself and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. And so I actually thought about, and I looked up, I found a school in Hannover where I could hire a degree. And after that higher degree, after 1 year, I could study. So, and I also tried to get a job, or just looked for positions in advertisement agencies, but I didn't apply. I just had a look, and I had some calls with people, but that's it. And yeah, and I have to say, I had no idea what design was. Honestly, I just loved movies, but I never thought about who is actually doing those movies, or who's designing cars. It wasn't for me like electricity comes from a plug, or your mobile phone just works, but you never think about how it works actually. So this was me, 21 or 21 and a half. So I applied to that school, and I actually had to apply with a portfolio, and I just sent my some portraits of my friends and family, what I did, some Mickey Mouse copied drawings, some drawings from Marvel's Spider-Man or Hulk. What I did, I just took a photograph, a really crappy one, and put them in, and some other stuff. And yeah, but I got the place for this 1 year, and this was actually the first time I actually met like-minded people who had the same passion like me. And then I thought, okay, well, there are really a lot of people who have the same passion, but I was always in my circle of friends, and there was no one who actually loved to draw. And this was actually also then, in this year, the first time I actually heard about design, what design actually is. And yeah, I met 2 people there who were so good in drawing. This was incredible. I was, oh fuck, they're so good. I wish I could just get a little bit good as them, but yeah, no, really cool guys. And yeah, and during that year, like I said, I got to know, and I learned to draw actually. We had a really good, really tough teacher, but he was actually pretty good, I have to say. So, and then I decided with some friends to study product design without actually really knowing what product design is, really. So but I thought, okay, this sounds good. They do it, I do it as well. Okay, I applied with them at the university, or it's not university. It is it's a college. I don't know. It's you study, but there's a difference in Germany between university and this, because I didn't have my really higher degree. So I just applied there, I got the place, and yeah, during that time, so I was and then I met other people who were great in design thinking, drawing, and everything, and I just started, and I really, really enjoyed it, I have to say. And in my third semester, then a friend of mine, Jan, brought me the Art of Star Wars episode 1, the art book, where just the normal pencil sketches and marker sketches in, and I just fell in love with it. And my drawing teacher, he showed us also the work of Sid Mead. I got introduced then, and yeah, this was just mind-blowing to see those things. And then the first time in my life, I realized, hey, wait, really, that there are people making this movie, those kind of movies, and they are designing for movies. Yes, it sounds pretty stupid, but it was like that. So what can I do? So, and yeah, during my product design, I actually started learning on my own after study on my weekends. When I was done with my product design stuff, I just started doing concept art stuff on my own. And then also, the Norman School came, the Design Studio Press came, Daniel Simon's book came out at that time. This was 2007, 2008, all of those things. And me and some friends were just blown away, and we tried to get as much input besides our product design study as we could. At the same time, I decided, due to another friend, Christoph, to go the transportation design route and not following the product design route. Because honestly, I thought, okay, to design a car or interior was for me the most exciting and most difficult thing you can actually do, and compare, because you're designing interiors or exteriors. There are so many products in itself that it's just the most interesting for me. So I really pushed for that with some other friends during my study, and I still had the love for concept art and design. I did that on my side. So, and then was time for an internship, and I applied. The first time I applied, actually, I didn't get any spot. So because my portfolio was too bad, so I had to redo my portfolio. So was a wake up call, because when you think you're good, you're never really good. Still today, I think I'm not really good, and I think it's better to think that than to think that you are actually really good, because then you stop improving yourself. I think that's a really good habit to have, in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't get the first time, so I improved my portfolio and sent it out the second time. And the second time, after this was a half a year later, I got a spot in Potsdam for the Volkswagen Design Center in Potsdam, and as an interior designer. And this was the place where also Daniel Simon used to work, but he left before I went there. He went to do his Cosmic Motors book. And in Potsdam was this a great thing, because under the roof we were it's called the whole brand. We had to design interiors or exteriors for the exterior designers for the whole brand of VW, and that's why I had the opportunity to design for Audi, Bentley, Porsche, Bugatti, and all those brands. This was super exciting, because you were not just doing Volkswagen things. You just it was just the amount on different design strategies or ideas and shape languages I got to see and to work on was just incredible. And I really learned a lot there during that. Even in my internship, I had the opportunity to work on the Lamborghini production car and helping out with my friend Nobby, at that time my mentor. And this was just great. And the good thing was, I have to say, is that I knew already alias and 3D modeling back then when I started, because in Hannover we learned Autodesk alias pretty early, and I just fell in love with the CAD modeling. This is really important, because this is a green line or red line, whatever you want to call it, which is going through my whole career, whatever. And so the good thing was I was already able to build proper CAD data from my designs in my internship, and I already always tried to improve that. And this was, at that time, there weren't actually so many designers who were actually able to do that. And they were actually coming, and the good thing was, even there weren't so much in my interior department, there were actually a couple who also worked with alias and building their own things, because it just speeds up the process. If you just work on a sketch, it's a sketch. But if you are able actually to build it on your own in 3D, you're already helping out the 3D designers a lot, because you are getting clear in your head what you're actually doing, and not just trying out with someone else and look for failures. But anyway, sorry for that little break there. But then I got the internship there. I finished it, and then I went for my diploma to another company called MB Technology. I did my final thesis there, and towards the end of my final thesis, I got a call from Potsdam if I would like to join for a project in the south of Europe. And there was a back and forth, and then I said yes. So I finished my final thesis, and 1.5 weeks later, I started at Ital Design and was working with my former colleagues, on the Lamborghini Estocca interior. I got this job actually because due to my 3D skills, because again, I was then also one of the designers of the three, and I could just design and building my own things and just send it out to 3D printing or milling parts, whatever. And I did the same also already in my final thesis. So I also improved myself a lot. And this is what I meant. And this was really helpful. And this was in 2008. And this was almost 4 months at Italy Design Giugiaro. But I was hired via Potsdam. And this was an amazing time doing a show car directly out of university. It was amazing. So, and when I finished there, they said, okay, because I wasn't a permanent there, I was just you call Werkstudent, I don't know, a trainee. It's a trainee, I was hired as a trainee, and I said, yeah, okay, we would like to hire you, and this was really in the crisis in 2008, and they said, okay, just prepare a portfolio, and we sent it, and yeah, they were happy. I sent my portfolio, and I got a permanent contract from the 1st of January in 2009 in Potsdam then. And this was completely a dream. I mean, the guy who just was a metal worker then and had no idea of design, and then ending up in one of the most, at that time, a really famous design studio, and basically every transportation design student wanted to be there. And so I got a job in the interior department, and super, super happy about that. Yeah, and then I had a really, really great time. I can't talk about a lot of things there, but I worked on the Milano taxi, one of the Bentleys, a lot of Audis, but I can't really say which one. But it doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter. But saying all that, I still had my passion for the concept art and concept design. So I actually never stopped sketching because I had a far distance relationship with my girlfriend. And so what did I do when I came home? I was just drawing weird creatures and spaceships for all those years. And I think in 2015 or so, I just decided, it was end of 14, I guess, or mid of 14, to do a sabbatical and to do something with that, with all the passion, with everything I had, because it just had, so many designs, and I really wanted to do something with it. And that's actually when I decided to do a sabbatical. I got that sabbatical, the okay for it, for the end of 2015 to the begin 2016 to end of 2016. And that's where I created a lot of stuff. And that's when some people found out about me, when I actually posted everything online. And because of that, I'm here. And that's why we are talking, basically. And there are a couple of other things, but I think you may ask also a couple of questions. So I don't know if this answered your question then.
Yeah, it did. And well, I mean, assuming you're right now currently working as professionally as a vehicle and industrial designer right now, I was wondering, how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a project? Like, what does the pipeline, like the structure of your pipeline, look like usually?
That's completely different for every client. It's very different. Sometimes you have more time, sometimes you have less time. But because I did almost 4 years sabbatical, 4 years now without any payment, because I chose to, and I rather would say how I approach a project when I do it for myself, because I think that's the most constant I have, actually. First of all, I think of a thing I want to design. So whatever it is, it's a boat or a car or an airplane, and then you think about the size, what kind of terrain it's supposed to go, the speed, is it for cruising or whatever. So you set up those things in mind, and then I actually start just doodling a couple of doodles or sketches. I actually don't do really pretty sketches anymore, because I'm faster building my things in 3D than doing actually a couple of really nice sketches from all views to actually see how does it work. So I'm very faster in 3D. But one important thing is when I approach my doodles, I always have in mind to create a unique silhouette, actually. So, and then that a top view or a side view or something, that this really sparks your interest when you close your eyes a little bit, so that you can really see just the outlines. I don't care about what the details are. They don't matter anyway. Just in the end they matter, but not at the beginning. So this is important. And when I found this, the outline or the shape, I actually just start adding some details inside of the shape. But I also always try to to stay as simple as possible. I always question myself, okay, do you really need this line? For what is this line? Well, is it on purpose there, or is it just styling, or is it just because I like it? And sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's just one, but I really try to reduce the styling part of it just because it looks cool. I really try to stay simple. And yeah, that's extremely difficult to do because I'm also questioning myself all the time. Oh, is it too simple? Missed. Oh, damn. And then, yeah, that's my struggle. And then I start actually 3D modeling. I mean, my preferred software is Autodesk Alias because I think I started learning Blender now. I can model in ZBrush, I can model in Fusion 360, but I always have a little trouble with polygon modeling. It's super fast, but it's the surface tensions and everything, how everything comes together. And this is easier and for me to do in Alias because I can exactly do what I want, and it's not just okay. I have a loop cut here, a row here, and then okay, how does it come together? And it's more kind of guessing. But you are super fast. I just in Blender now. Damn it, this is really, really fast to come up with a design and proportions. Yeah, I basically do this, and then from the big shape to the small details. So I always think, okay, where to get into the car, for example, where to get into the car. What, like I said, the terrain. What is this kind of vehicle? Is it actually driven by humans, or are humans actually just inside, or is it a drone, or is it? I like to do those companions. I always see those vehicles as friends, in a way, as buddies, or like R2-D2 or in Star Wars. My vehicles are supposed to be friendly characters. You want to actually, you have the feeling that they look at you, smile at you, or whatever, and you want to hang out with them. So this is also, well, actually, I think I try to give my designs a feeling of hope, actually, a hopeful future. Instead of doing I really don't like to do those dark renderings where the world ends, whatever. I really don't like to do those kind of renderings because I think there are enough already on the internet. I try to go the different way, even when the story sometimes is kind of dark, but I try to see the hope in it. And yeah, let's say I'm more the Star Trek hopeful, what it used to be, Star Trek guy, than the world ends, whatever sci-fi dystopian movie. Yeah, and then I do my design, but I always do a couple of designs at the same time. So I just do, now I started actually in Blender, I did just one day, one design, next day, next design. And so, and in Alias the same. In Alias I had usually 3 or 4 designs at the same time. And then I pause them and I go back after 3 weeks or months or 2 months. Because the good thing is, if your design still looks good or appealing to you, you're on a good way. Because when you just do one design at the same time, you lose the focus on it. You don't see certain lines. You don't really see. You're missing out a lot of mistakes and errors you are doing in a design, and I do them all the time. And when you pause the design, put it aside, go back after a couple of weeks and start again. And I basically do that all the time. And then to a certain point, pause it, go back, pause it 3 times or so. And I do the same with my renderings, actually, my final renderings. I also do a couple of renderings. Okay, the next renderings, go back. It is also what I did for my book. I think I went 5, 6, whatever times through all those renderings. I did the layouts. I knew what pictures, what renderings I had. And then I said, okay, this is the first picture, the first rendering, and then until the last one. Okay, and when I had the last one, you learned actually a lot of new things and skills, and you saw different things. And when you go back to your first rendering, you see a lot of mistakes you did actually in the lighting, or there's a texture mistake, or oh damn it, my sticker actually mirrored accidentally or whatever. And then you go back and through the whole book, or you process again and jump back. But this is my private process I like to do. That's why I think this is there's a constant in what I always do. This is my process. And like I said, on the job, okay, do this. Okay, you do it, do a sketch. Okay, go through. You have a meeting. Okay, this is good, this is not good. Okay, please change this, or don't change anything. Okay, or in a different project, okay, just take your time, just do some sketches, whatever. This is so different. This is every time it's different. That's why I thought it's better to actually hear about my work process.
All right, and I'm actually so glad that we kind of share the same like sentiment when it comes to like fiction, in terms of like those future type of like science fiction genres, where right now like a lot of the outlook is dystopian. Yeah. And you're kind of looking the other side, the possibility that it could be actually utopian. It could be fun. It could be full of brightness and hopefulness. And I kind of have the same mindset as well. I also have my own world buildings inside my head, all my stories, and the genre I love, like basically in a couple of sentences, I could say is post-apocalypse, but with a twist. But that you see these abandoned ruins and cities, but they're overgrown with lush greenery and flowers out of them. Like imagine like a battlefield of for example, a battle like, let's say, a battle that took place, for example, on Earth like 100 years later, which was fought with robots and mechs and airplanes and spaceships. But 300 years from now, that place is turned into like a jungle. There's like flowers like sprouting outside the heads of the mechs or something, and communities have arisen now. There's waterfalls, there's beautiful sunsets, I kind of like that sort of type of vibe and energy, the same sort of vibe and energy you get from when you see an old castle, 2000 years old ruins and castle, and you see it's overgrown with greenery and moss and grass. I love that kind of energy.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, very true. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, even if there's still a history in it, and yes, in the end, everyone survived. Or it's developed in a different way, but this is still a hopeful, and not just machines are killing everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. Yeah, and I mean, what you just said with the trees are growing over. This was when I was in Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the temple cities, and we drove around there, and there is exactly the same thing. Those old temples are overgrown by the jungle, and this is so beautiful. Yeah, it's just beauty. Yeah.
And well, now I want to ask you, about some stuff, just some general stuff, basically. Yep. First thing is, you kind of mentioned something before we started recording, and I would like you to, we talk about it again, because I think it's going to be interesting for a lot of my, listeners as well. That about your demographics, like you said something interesting, that basically on the fourth place of your most, people who visit your Instagram profile and, interact with the post are actually from Iran. Yeah. And I don't know if you know it, but here's the thing. Let me actually tell you something interesting, because for anyone who's from your side of, followers who are listening to this podcast, it might be also interesting to you as well, that I'm originally from Iran. I mean, I already told you I'm from Istanbul, but I'm originally from Iran. And, of course, when you're Iranian or German or Canadian or whatever, the algorithm fits you the content creators from your side usually, if you follow a bunch of for example, German influencers or pages, it's more likely to show you more German artists and people and influencers and so on. So of course, as I already followed a lot of Iranian people and artists, I was like, of course there's a lot of Iranian artists, because I'm Iranian and the algorithm is feeding me this stuff. But even about 120 episodes ago, in episode 18 or 19, I had an artist named Rasha Alem. She was a painter from Egypt, and she kind of said the same thing as you. And I think at the time her page had 20k followers or something, and she said a huge chunk of my followers are Iranian. And she asked me why. Is it a common thing in Iran? And I was like, I never noticed it. Yes, I mean, there's a lot of artists in Iran, but I kind of never noticed it that it was that strong, even though like Iran is right now. I mean, I'm not going to get into too much politics, but I'm just going to say
Yeah.
like it doesn't have that much like opportunities for artists to grow. Like
Yeah.
we even a lot of us have to rely on our art station that for example were in Istanbul or in Azerbaijan. I'm actually in Istanbul, by the way. I'm not lying. But the thing is like we have to lie to place where we live to even get clients sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of like mega talented artists in Iran, and yeah, it's one of those weird things. And another thing I would say is that since ancient times, Iran was like the cradle of like art and culture, kind of like how Greece was back in the day.
Yep.
And yeah, especially my hometown Shiraz was like basically one of the capitals of culture and poetry and art and all of that. Like the two famous poets Sadi and Hafiz, and I think Goethe. Do you of course Frederick Goethe. Yeah, he
Yeah,
also
good.
wrote some stuff about Hafiz as well. He took some inspiration from him. He's basically a poet from like I think 1,000 or something years ago. Oh, that's so embarrassing. That's actually embarrassing. I don't exactly remember how many years ago he lived, but
It's okay.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. But
No.
like, when did you notice that actually? Like, honestly,
A couple of months ago, actually, but I just had a look in the insights, and then I said, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think 90% of the people I'm following, I have no idea where they're from, and I don't care, honestly. I just follow them because I love what the people are actually doing, and so I can't even tell you if there's a lot of people I'm following from Iran. I don't know, honestly. It's just I don't care about where someone is from. It was interesting actually, because I thought, okay, it's maybe America or whatever, but it is, but that's place for it. It was very interesting. Very interesting. It's cool.
yeah, and a couple other things I want to ask you is
general.
or sorry, go on.
No, it's okay.
All right, sorry. So the couple other things I want to ask you is, some of your, projects you've done. I mean, of course, if I put your ArtStation link in the captions as well, in case anyone wanted to check the stuff as well. But, even I have your ArtStation open right now. And, in the beginning, your works, as you said, that you did some concept arts, like, some creature stuff. And I really remember, like, remind me of Ben Mauro's works. And when it comes to creatures and stuff, do you know him?
Yeah, of course. I know. Of course, I know him.
And I was wondering, did you get any?
Yeah.
Did you get any inspiration from him, or even before that? Because
it might be that I got inspiration from him, but my main inspiration for the creatures were actually I tried to do vehicles without wheels. Creatures. So that's why my creatures are looking really kind of automotive. Basically, this was my inspiration.
Oh, that's actually super interesting.
To really do, because there's a huge similarity actually when you look at the line and tensions of a lot of those creatures between my vehicles. This was actually my goal to do not dark, nitty gritty creatures, and rather do some beautiful aesthetic creatures like the dinosaurs. I mean, I love dinosaurs, and there's a beauty to it, and I try to just implement automotive design language into my creatures. I thought this was actually my inspiration, but okay, I knew Ben's work, and then especially when he did with Luc Besson, what was the movie from the comic where he did so much stuff. It's Ben, yeah. But it's a lot, and yeah, I knew him also from, I don't know. I mean, everyone saw his work back in the days, honestly. So, and that's also a good point. I stopped actually because sometimes you do something and then accidentally you see, oh, wait, this looks like something I've seen before. And that's why I actually stopped have a look at inspiration pictures. I don't look at any pictures anymore except the pictures I see or the artworks from people I follow, but I don't look on what's the one biggest site? Even forgot the name of that. I don't look at anything.
ArtStation?
No, not ArtStation. It's the where you can actually collect all your pictures. Please, I forgot even the
Pinterest?
name. Yeah, Pinterest, exactly. I don't have any Pinterest, so I don't look at anything anymore. Basically, I try to really just look at animals, whatever, and try to and everything I learned basically, and try to implement that into my designs. There's quite often that you think, hey, wait, I saw that somewhere, because most of us don't do it on purpose to implement something, but we're doing it our subconscious is doing it sometimes. That's why it's very interesting. That's why also sometimes when I'm doing something, I just show it to a couple of friends. Did you saw that somewhere? What can you give me feedback? Or is it just because I looked at it for so long that actually my brain thinks it was there already before? So I also always try to double check that I'm not copying anyone or stealing an idea, whatever.
No. I didn't mean
But
that
it's
when
kind
I
of-
Yeah.
No, I know. But I thought this is also quite interesting, because a lot of people are asking, where do you get your inspiration from? And it's basically the life I lived, everything I did, and the kind of form language I established over the years is actually basically helping me to find my my designs. And if I have something, I just always look at animals basically, and that's why I try to get this character, even more a character than cars have. I try to give them more robotic kind of character or feeling. That's what I said with companion. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. I don't. At least I try it. I don't know if this always works, but I try.
All right. And what about the concept of edubots or edubots? You made a lot of renders of them. Like, what is the concept behind those? The story of them?
They were actually meant to be some kind of parents for the first story I had with someone else for the book when I did my sabbatical. And they were actually, because they were supposed to raise children 20 years ahead of the arrival from a extraterrestrial planet. And I thought, okay, they need to be robots actually, because, and I thought, okay, how should they actually look? And I tried to just let them look a little bit human, but not really human in a way, and just tried to find a shape I haven't seen at that time before, and just try to abstract basically the human body to a certain point, and then add some product design details, like the ring as a head, or just the long face, but just try something. They were actually just teachers, basically. That's why it's Volta and Marie Curie and Voltaire, von Voltaire. Yeah, that's why both of the names. Yeah.
All right. And speaking of book, you said one of some of the characters you were working on a book. I also want to quickly, mention something to also the listeners as well. I'm gonna put the link of it in the captions as well. Like, right now on Amazon, the Explorer, the futuristic vehicles for uncharted lands by not one and only Christian Grajewski. Sorry, I'm so sorry I can't get the name off.
One and only, not really.
Yeah. And you guys can definitely check it out. There's also some cool concepts in there as well. And another important thing I need to mention, there's only 11 of them in stock left, so you need to order soon if you want to get your hands on one of those bad boys. And what do you have to what's the story behind the book and that whole project? How was it?
Yeah, the story behind the book is basically a continuation of my sabbatical, because when I decided to do this sabbatical, I had this idea in mind, because I couldn't just do a sabbatical and sit there and do something. I needed a goal, actually. If this was super high, stupid goal at that time, but I thought, okay, when I'm doing a sabbatical, I try to do an art book and try to publish it with Design Studio Press. Yeah, this worked out in the end. lucky me. But yeah, I needed that goal because it was just, otherwise I wouldn't have focused a lot. And if I have a goal, I can really focus on it and just go through it, and without forgetting while forgetting basically everything else, which isn't good a lot of times. No, but when I did the sabbatical, I tried to do certain vehicles with a story. And after my sabbatical, I had basically, I did 7 vehicles in my sabbatical, and all those creatures, basically 90%. I just added a couple of new ones now, but the creatures and those edubots and 2 characters, I did all of that in my sabbatical. I had also to learn ZBrush and all this UV editing. I had to properly learn Keyshot to actually render my designs. I had no idea. The only thing I knew from work was actually Alias and sketching and Photoshop. And yeah, I had to learn a lot of new things to actually being able to do my book. So yeah, this was then working and learning basically for 1 year. And then after that year, I published all of that. And I just also I printed a book with 400 pages of my work, and just made a video of it, and actually applied to Design Studio Press, but I didn't get any answer actually. I didn't get any feedback. So this was then beginning of 2017, and I also went back to work in Potsdam, and yeah, nothing happened. I also went back in part-time. I kept on doing my own stuff, my concept art things, because I thought, okay, I don't want to work in full-time anymore. I just want to continue with what I'm really passionate about. And this was actually creating my own universe, creating my own worlds, because I think after a while, when you do, you just have to do the same stuff over and over and a lot of times for people without any vision, it's just, it gets boring. And when I came back after my sabbatical, I realized that even more. And I was actually able to come up with a lot of ideas. If they are good, this is in the viewer's perspective. Maybe they're bad, but I really tried to do my own things. And yeah, after a while, I applied. I thought, okay, how else could I get actually in touch with Design Studio Press? And then I thought, okay, I might write Scott Robertson via LinkedIn, and where you have those 300 characters or so, I tried to write a really polite contact mail there. And yeah, I sent him a link to my work, and yeah, he replied actually 1 week later, and yeah, this got things rolling. And in the same time, I got contacted by the former CEO of Zoox. Don't know if you heard of Zoox. They were bought from Amazon, I think a year ago from now. But this was also in 2017. And he wanted me to help working in his company. And at the beginning, I said no. But after a while, a dramatic change in my life happened. Then I decided actually, okay, I quit my job in Potsdam. Doesn't matter what. I just focus on what I love. And then he contacted me again. And yeah, I started basically working in San Francisco for Zoox. And at the same time, Scott Robertson brought me back. And yeah, I got in contact also with the publisher then. And then we said, okay. And I said, yeah, I just got a job in California, in San Francisco. So maybe we can meet. So yeah, we made an appointment. And when we met, when I was there, yeah, and this was then when things got started. And after I got a contract from them, they were keen on doing a project with me. Yeah, and I worked 4 months for Zoox. And when I got back, I worked actually then for 1.5 years without any payment, just living on my savings on my book. For the next from 1st of March 18 to mid-August 2019 without any payment again, just on my savings. And just focusing on my book, learning new things. Then I started learning Cinema 4D, I learned Octane, Fusion 360, and Marvelous Designer. I started also learning all those new things. To improve and actually to being able to do what I had in my mind actually for the final book. This was the time. And then I got in August, I got another freelance job. I worked there, and later on, after that 4 months, I came back, and actually I came back and had a look at my book again. This what happened, what I told you before. I went through it and I have to do everything again. So another half a year spent without any money, or basically a year then again, or without the money, but a half a year until I sent the final data to the publisher. And I finished the book then, again, going through and through again, step by step. Also the pictures, maybe it's interesting also how I approached the pictures. I first did actually without any material, just basic materials on it, no graphics, just a simple mannequin character there. And then I established actually the shots, the views I wanted to have with how the framing and everything. And then I went back, did the materials properly, without any characters, but having the shot in mind. This didn't change anymore. The lighting sometimes changed a bit. And then going through the book again, going back, okay, now I'm adding characters. Just did some oversketching. Okay, how could the characters be placed? Where I did some basic characters, went through, did them again, changed something, went through, and again, until the book was finished. And basically, I did also the whole layout, basically for 95%. The layout alone. We had another graphics designer on it who did the very final layout, helped us out, and this was actually pretty helpful because I did everything, but I'm not a graphics designer, and there is a big difference. This is another profession, and I'm not claiming that I'm a good graphics designer at all, because this is really something else. Like with every design. How do you say? Transportation design, product design, character artist. You need to be specialized in certain things to really get good, and you cannot get good in everything. This is just, I think, it will take a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have so much time, this was then the book, and then it went back and forth a little bit, just some changes here and there from the how do you call it, when someone rereads your texts, forgot to grammar and spell and everything. So there were some changes done. I got, again, a little bit feedback from my friends. I also have to say I got massive feedback from my friends. I always were asking for, actually, they were supposed to tell me the truth, what is bad. I didn't want to hear what is good, actually, because this didn't help me out. It doesn't help you out to hear what's good. It just helps you out to hear what is bad, actually, to improve your work. And this is also a lot of designers, and especially young designers, have to learn. There's no need to hear what's good. You just need to hear what needs to be improved, or what is bad, actually, and how you can improve. And I just actually picked just my friends who were actually very honest, and I always wanted to have just the truth, actually, for everything. And and then the book went out, got printed. Corona, everything happened to the world. The book got delayed a lot, but in end of March 2021, it got published, and it started in the US and then in Europe. And I have no idea where you can get it in the world. Can you get it in Turkey, actually? Well, Amazon,
what?
Got 11.
The book?
Can you actually get the book in
Yes,
Turkey?
you can. Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Okay, because I have no idea where you can get it. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, that was a painful, fun, and really a lot of learning for me in everything. I mean, it wasn't all fun. I had also really bad moments where I felt, okay, man, this is really, really bad what you're doing. I felt bad, but then, okay, you get up and start again. And yeah, so just to know everyone that doing this isn't just fun. It's also something you have to go through dark times or days and then get up again and just bam, do it and try to stay positive. Yeah. So this is about my book. So, anything else you're interested concerning the book, or
Yeah,
talking
I
so much?
mean, no, it's fun. It's fun. That's actually, what I love about a format of podcast. It's just free flowing, organic conversations. It's not like, pre-organized stuff. And I think, for even the listeners could agree that, sometimes podcasting is much more enjoyable to listen to and absorb information from, because you can literally listen to podcasts while doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And like, basically, here's the thing, like you're right now, like kind of like saying that, like, I'm sorry if I like talk too much, but no, that's actually fun. That's the good positive thing about podcasting, that you should actually go, on tangents. That's actually the fun about it.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, by the way, for providing us with all this information. And
it's good. If it's helpful, then it's good. If I talk some shit, then please tell me.
No. Just go on as much as you want. It's fine.
That's good.
And well, the next question is: who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Sid Mead, yeah, Daniel Simon, Scott Robertson. Yeah, those are actually then also a Wayne Barlow. He was also basically his book Expedition is actually also, it's from the 80s. It was a really actually huge inspiration for doing this kind of extraterrestrial research explorer thing, because he did a really fantastic book, and he just actually republished the book, and those creatures are just insanely awesome, and they're looking very different, but I really just love the way they're looking, and also his other books. It's just, yeah, those are just, I think, Sid Mead and Daniel Simon you can see, and Daniel Simon basically was a huge inspiration, basically the biggest one, because it was like seeing all those, growing up in Germany in a little town with a little village with 100 people, watching movies. This feels like something from Mars. Just, this has nothing to do with my world. I'm just here, sitting here and consuming things other more worthy people are doing. And when I saw that someone from Germany actually got into Hollywood, did a book, this actually, I thought, wait, okay, someone from Germany can actually do that? And that's why he was a huge inspiration for me, because I felt the first time, okay, maybe it isn't just as far as the Mars. Maybe I just have to, I have to work harder, and then with the internet, you will be able, if you put in the passion, put it in, you can do certain things, and yeah, if you get lucky, also, then things, yeah. So that's why, and Sid Mead, yeah, of course, yeah. What can you do? What can you say? He's just so insane, and yeah, those are the most influential designers, actually. Yeah.
All right. And by the way, how about Ian McQueen? I think that's his name, Ian McQueen or McQueen. He's a.
Ralph McQuarrie. You mean Ralph McQuarrie, the Star Wars designer from the first episodes. Ralph McQuarrie. I even have the book here. It's Ralph McQuarrie.
I think he's a Scottish, right?
I would lie. Maybe
Ian McQueen. Yes, Ian McQueen. Ian McQueen. I don't know if
Ralph McQuarrie. Ralph McQuarrie is his name. This was from the Star Wars, from the Ralph McQuarrie.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Didn't know.
I think you you mean him, no? The concept artist for the very first Star Wars, for episode 4, 5, and 6,
no. I think I'm talking about someone else. It's Ian McQueen. He's like an illustrator from Edinburgh.
Yeah. You mean he has always those super awesome spaceships?
Yes.
Yeah, those. Yeah. I know. Yeah. He's. I mean, yeah. Those were all. There was even Ben Morrow, but what we talked. He and Feng Shu, of course, as well. I mean, Harald Berger. I mean, there were so many people and designers out there, but it is just. They all were influential, but the ones when I think of were really the people I just said, and the other ones, of course, as well. I mean, even now when I look at other young designers, also even people who are not, I always find it inspirational when young artists are starting out, and I see myself in them and see how the learning curve somehow. This is super inspirational for me, because I always hope that they get, because it will be, and I hope that they get to a point and then surpass everyone else and getting better and better, and I can witness how good they become, and this is just fun to watch. Honestly, it's great to see.
All right, and this question I don't ask like every guest. There are some questions that are specific for certain guests. Depending on their profession, their experience, and since you're someone who has a lot of experience working in different industries, and especially industrial and vehicle industry, I want to ask you this: any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for someone who wants to break into this industry as a professional?
Don't write too much. Because no one will read it. So put your effort in the. Yeah, no, that sounds stupid, but I did exactly. This was also the one mistake I did in my portfolio, actually, and this was where it's in a time where actually you had to print the portfolio and send it. So that wasn't just a PDF. So when you do it and you have a text, but honestly, in the years, I think 1% read what you're writing. So just focus on the layout, keep it simple. Start with a really impressive project and end with a really impressive project. This is very important, because this was especially important because when you had it printed, you never knew because they were flipping through or the other day. So it's the first thing you remember and the last thing you remember. So don't put anything that isn't outstanding at the end or at the beginning. Just do something mediocre in the middle and then the rest. It's very good to remember, because when you click through, the last two projects, this stays in your mind. And yeah, also stay simple. Don't overdo it. If you have nice sketches, just rather focus. Less is more, I think, in transportation as well, because I can't talk for really concept art where you have the paintings, but I think in transportation or vehicle design or product design, less is more. And I always liked personally to see the progression. Also, what was the ideation sketches, and then so 3 steps, for example: ideation sketches, the almost finished, and then the final things, because then you can really see the progress, how someone thinks. This is very important, to not just do, and especially also don't put in just high gloss sketches. I mean, where everything is perfect, because this is when you have a presentation in a company, for example, sometimes your doodles will be picked because there is more. It captures the imagination more of your bosses, actually, because if everything is perfect, it's set. There is nothing to interpret on the sketch. And if there is a doodle with some really not just a couple of lines, and just you think, that's interesting, and those people might see something you haven't seen, actually, which sounds strange, but it is actually the way, because someone interprets your sketch differently than you do. So that's also a good point. Don't
All
hide
right.
your doodles. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of doodles and works and all that stuff, what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? I mean, what kind of project it is? I mean, of course, if there's an NDA involved, we can skip
Um,
right past this question. But if that's not the case, what are you doing right now?
um, like I said, uh, half an hour. So I started learning Blender because I want to improve actually my workflow and the speed, how I can checking proportions and everything. And I started actually now going through all my sketches, and I try to do every day to actually do a model, but not perfectly done. But so I'm happy actually with the proportions and everything. And yeah, I wanted to do this until end of February and then start again. And so having 20 more or so new designs, and basically just I even now started with a last week with a sketch 14 years ago for my final thesis, which I always loved. I thought, okay, maybe now it's time to do it, and maybe let's see how far I can push it. And now I have, and like I said, I have so many sketches and designs flying around. Like, yeah, I just always try to basically learn new things and yeah, get faster, but not getting faster in the how do you say, in sacrifice of quality. This because everyone can be fast, but you need to be patient with the quality you're delivering, because in the end people see if something is different, if there is, if someone put effort in it and just not threw some lines in it, if you how the surface flow is, how the detail, how the lines and everything work together, people see that. And yeah, good design takes time. You can't really come up with a really nice and perfect model in a day. You can come up with a great idea and somehow good proportions, but then you have to bring those proportions and this body into a really good design, and this takes time. I mean, the automobile industry, it sometimes takes 2 years until it's perfect. So yeah, this is what I mean, I will maybe end of March, I hope I can show a lot of those designs I did. They will be very different, and I try also to do a combination with Blender and Fusion 360 now, because bringing in those details is kind of hard with poly modeling and doing something. So it's actually possible to take your Blender OBJ file, your subdivision 1 or 0 file, into Fusion or even Moi. It's cheaper. And actually create NURBS data. And yeah, with NURBS data, it's super easy to add those really nice and precise shut lines and the radii, how you want it, all those nice headlights or details, everything you want to have in. It's actually way easier and faster in NURBS modeling. So I try to find a new workflow with that. Yep. This is what I'm doing currently, because I decided not to work because I haven't got a job I feel happy about or whatever. Because yeah, this was a decision I also made, I have to say. I rather have less money and being happy, and I can work on my world, the ideas I have, than actually to just buy something I actually don't need and have to work for other people and do work I don't like. Or yeah, I rather make a compromise, and I actually don't make. I'm happy. So yeah, maybe
All
also
right.
good to know for some people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And actually, here's a thing that I've been thinking about. A lot of artists actually do this. I recently realized, not just artists, like just people who can work freelance or online as a job. Like for example, especially for people like for example with countries like Germany, England, like basically first world countries. With
Yeah.
the, as you said, I'd rather have less money but be happier, which is actually a amazing point, great point. But here's the thing: with that a small money you have in, for example, euros or pounds, you can actually live a long more sustainable time. For example, in a country like Turkey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like actually, a lot of people relocate because of that, which is actually a super smart move, you know?
I know it's with the pandemic, it's not. But if you have if you don't have a partner, it's actually you could actually live even better actually if you go to a different country. That's what you're saying, no? Right. Yeah. But it's I'm happy I don't have a car or whatever. So I just like I said, I'm happy and I could do, but with a partner who has a job, then it's just stupid to go away then, and this doesn't. And I also wanted to have more time with her, and and don't do my concept artwork after work. So this is all aside. I do it from the very early morning. From fourth, I get up at 4:30 every day with her, and then start usually work until 5, 6 now, sometimes also longer, depends on if I want or not. And I just love it to do it. Getting up basically almost every day and do my own stuff getting up with a smile, and finally can go
Yeah,
big.
that sounds awesome. But if you don't mind me asking, like, when you work up at 4:30, and when do you usually get to sleep at night? Usually, because I'm just curious.
Between 9 and 10 usually.
Oh, that's good.
But I try to lay in bed for 7-ish hours in a way. I don't say sleep because my whole life I sleep really bad. So since my childhood, I can't change it. But I'm not tired during the days, most of the day. So it seems to be okay for me to work out. Actually, I'm also not tired when I get up. So there are some days when I'm a bit tired, but that's actually okay. I can really. They love the silence. Basically, I also when I worked in Potsdam, I was always the first or with the first one in the company. I love to work when it's silent, and just it gives me energy. I think most introverts or artists are introverts, and they seek energy from silence. In a way,
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. Good for you.
But the
And
day just shifts when you get up early. But what I prefer actually is to have the day ahead of me and see what comes. And maybe when summer, I say, okay, no, I'm finished. I can go out and enjoy the sun, have a beer, a cold one. But if you get up late and you have to do your work, you miss the whole day. And I rather have sunshine.
yeah, that's actually such a good point. Now that you mention it,
That's a good. You always see what's ahead, and then okay, now it's good. Can shut off.
yeah. And let's take a break from all this like technical stuff questions. I want to ask you like a little bit like we want to get to know you a bit more. Which is the question is, what area beside the area you're working on right now would you be interested to explore and learn in the future? I mean, it could be something completely non-art related, by the way.
What I want to learn something. I love, for example, cycling, enduro cycling. I really love that, but I also loved bouldering actually to go, but due to Corona, I had to pause, and it's still kind of shitty to go with this. But learning, basically, it's hard because I love what I'm doing is basically what I love, and I would love to do a short movie. It is related with art, but I would lie. This is just what I love, honestly, and and all those things are coming together. Photography, I really like photography, but I would like to do for sailboat a license. I thought about doing that because this I like to be outside. That's and even hiking. Just like I said, when I'm on my mountain bike in the woods, I really like to be outside and then maybe be on the ocean or something like this. And this is what I thought about actually. I even talked to a friend of mine. So this is me.
That sounds awesome, honestly. And well, we've reached the final question and section of the podcast, which is called Final Words. And let me explain what it means. So imagine in the limited amount of time, like a window of time that you have this opportunity to say anything, a message from you as a human to another human being. And that another human being is anyone who's listening to this episode of the podcast and are there at this point in the future. So to anyone who's listening to this podcast in the future and are listening to us now, what would you say?
Damn it. That's to someone in the future, not in the past.
No, I mean, that's not the point necessarily, but, basically to another person, yeah.
I hope you lived the life that you wanted to live and enjoyed it the fullest.
Awesome. Just short and simple, but I'm going to repeat it again because that was kind of like beautiful. I hope you live the life that you wanted and enjoy it to the most, you said?
Yeah, the fullest one, the most, yeah. I think this is the fullest. If you look back, I think this is and it's not about the money, it's just spending time with your loved ones, with the people you love, doing the things you do. And yeah, I mean, life is difficult for everyone. We just have to make the best out of it. I mean, this is, everyone, has a different story, and it's just try to make the best out of it. Yeah, I think, and be happy.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast and this episode 143. And where can people contact you if they had a question? Is your Instagram DMs okay?
Yeah, Instagram DMs. I am a bit slow or I forget, but I try to get back, or just an email. Also works perfectly, but don't be sorry when I'm not answering, and try to be polite and don't just write, hey. Don't do that, because then I won't write back.
Yeah.
No, but just email or Instagram, DM, try to, it usually works, yeah.
Awesome. And thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. I hope you all enjoyed this episode as well. If there's any comments or suggestions, you can always leave them down in the comment section down below, whether on Castbox, YouTube, or Instagram. And as always, you could also, hit me up straight to the, Kouryer podcast page, Instagram page as well. If there was any inquiries, you can let me know as well. I check them all the time. And with that being said, take care, everyone. I hope you all have a good day. And also don't forget to check the links down in the below of the ArtStation, Amazon, and all that. And until next episode, everyone, take care. See you soon. Bye.